Welcome to episode 3 of our special podcast series on menopause and the groundbreaking research that was done by our team here at the Physicians Committee, one that is offering hope and relief to the millions of women who experience hot flashes. As a matter of fact, 80% of women in North America, 4 out of 5, will have their entire life uprooted, disturbed by these hot flashes. And so what can they do to change that? What relief can possibly be offered? Well, it starts with your diet. That is the results of this groundbreaking new study called the WAVE study. And the lead researcher, Dr. Neal Barnard, is here with us again today. Sir, thank you so very much for joining us again.
Sure. Thank you, Chuck.
This is very exciting because this is the practical tips portion of this 3-part podcast series. This is okay. We know that a diet change can really help, but how in the world do we do it? And I know that you have come up with 3 great ways that women can tackle menopause by changing their diet.
Yeah, actually, let me walk you through it. The 3 steps are that it should be a vegan diet, no animal products. Secondly, keep oils really low, even the healthy oils. We're going to keep them low. And the third, when we're tackling menopause, it's good to bring some soybeans into it. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay, Chuck, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to walk through all three of these.
Of course, let's go for it.
All right, vegan diet. You might know this diagram already. Fruits, grains, vegetables, legumes. That's a fancy word for beans and lentils. That's going to be what we're going to be eating from. And you need to take vitamin B12 along with it for healthy blood and healthy nerves. Okay, so that's my diet. The second step for many people is more challenging. And let me make this specific. Let's say you're dealing with hot flashes. Regardless of what you decide you're going to do forever and ever and ever 10 years from now, for the short term, for the next 3 weeks or so, let's keep the oils out of it. So learn to cook without cooking oils, avoid the nuts and the avocado and so forth for now. And if you go into the produce department, pick up some broccoli or an orange, it doesn't have a food label, so you don't have to read the fat content. Don't worry about it. But when you go through the more processed food aisles and you pick up your vegan pizza, you think, okay, this is fine, or the veggie burger. Before you put it in your shopping cart, look at the label and see if it's got less than 3 grams of total fat. If so, have it. If it's more than that, that's fattier than we're going to want. Okay, so here is some peanut butter. 2 tablespoons of fat has 16 grams of fat. Okay, that's more than 3. But now here's black beans. Let's look at that. And here I'm going to have about a half a cup and 0.5 grams. Okay, so the beans are my winner here. But do be careful. Even things that sound really healthy, like avocados or olive oil, to tackle our hormone waves, we want to have it be not only vegan, but keep the fats really low too. Okay, so how do I do that much? This will seem like a job if you have never done a plant-based diet, but we have found a way to make this really easy. Okay, step 1, take a week, 7 days. During this 7-day step, you don't have to avoid anything. What we're going to do is check out the possibilities. We're going to see, what could I eat if I was eating only plant-based foods? So to make a list, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and I'm serious, actually do this. Our patients here at the Barnard Medical Center all do this, and so do our research participants. You take a piece of paper, write them down, and you need some ideas. And these pictures are actually foods from my book, Your Body in Balance. And I want to tip my hat to Lindsay S. Nixon, who came up with all of these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful recipes. And the reason I'm mentioning that is you need some ideas. Look at books, look at websites. Your Body in Balance is a great resource, if you ask me, because Lindsay and I work to have foods that exactly met our principles. But you'll see many, many others online. And do check them out. For example, I could have healthy pancakes without the butter. I could have oatmeal without the unhealthy cream. Instead of scrambled eggs, scrambled tofu. My lunch could be not a hamburger, but a veggie burger. Fair enough, lots of choices. I go to an Italian place. Skip the meat sauce on the spaghetti, have the marinara sauce, the arrabbiata sauce, have the pizza without the cheese. Latin American cuisine, easy. Beans and rice, veggie fajitas, you name it. Chinese, rice, vegetables, tofu dishes. Sushi bars, skip the fish sushi, but you can have cucumber roll, asparagus roll, sweet potato roll, edamame, seaweed salads, all kinds of neat things to explore. Fast food, not the pinnacle of culinary art, but Subway has you covered. Chipotle, you'll see bean burritos, all kinds of things at different fast food restaurants, and check them out. So all I'm doing is during this initial phase, I'm taking a week, you're taking a week, and we're figuring out what my options could be. And after a week, you got a pretty darn good list. Okay, great. You've done fabulous. See, now the next step is to put that list to a test. For the next 3 weeks, let's go vegan. And now that's easy because, frankly, you can do anything for 3 weeks. And secondly, you've already got your list. So after these 3 weeks, you discover you're feeling better. You're feeling a lot better. You're losing some weight. Your hot flashes are probably starting to budge, and then take it from there. A quick tip, you don't have to give up skepticism. If you're thinking, I'm not sure this is going to really work for me, that's okay. You don't have to believe in penicillin. You just take it, and the penicillin will work for you. So by analogy, you don't have to believe in the diet. You just have to do it and see what happens. Okay, now I mentioned step 3 was soybeans. And let me walk you through how to prepare them, because for a lot of people, they're new to this. This is edamame. Edamame is not what I'm talking about. Edamame is the juvenile soybean. It's good, it's fine, have it, it's great. But the isoflavones that are the sort of soybean magic, they mature as the soybean matures. So edamame has a little bit, but the actual mature soybeans have a lot. You can go online, and here's Laura soybeans. You'll see them. There are other brands that you'll find, and they'll specify non-GMO. And you pop them in your Instant Pot or your other pressure cooker and cook them for about 40 minutes. And if you have never done this, open up the Instant Pot or whatever it is, put the soybeans inside, cover them with about 2 inches of water, close it up, cook them on for 40 minutes. You don't want them to be al dente because you're not going to be able to digest them. 40 minutes, they'll be soft. Now, let's say you want to just do it with the old-fashioned stovetop method. Fine. Soak them overnight. That softens them up. Some people add a little bit of salt to the cooking water because that keeps the bean skin a little bit softer. Then rinse them out in the morning, add fresh water to it, and boil them for about an hour to an hour and a half. Make sure they are well cooked and really, really soft. Now, you can eat them just like they are. Put them in little boxes, Ziploc bags or little Tupperware type boxes, and just portion them out. A half a cup a day is the amount shown to reduce hot flashes. Or throw them on a salad. Throw them in a soup. Or you want to have fun? Let's roast them. Let me show you how we do this. You pressure cook them first. So we're going to start with cooked soybeans. Step 2, take parchment. Have you ever gotten this parchment paper? You can put it in the oven, and if it's the right kind, it will not burn. At least it won't burn by the time we're making our soybeans. So you spread the parchment paper on a baking sheet, and then you spread the soybeans out a little thin. Don't have them all piled up. And then set your oven for 350 and bake them roast them for 45 to 60 minutes. Now, when I do this, they are much better. I like them at 60 minutes. You want to get that extra moisture out of them. And then you can season them up however you might want. Salt, cayenne, garlic powder, basil, oregano, anything. Some people like to add the seasonings before they roast them. Experiment. Have at it. See what happens. And let me show you, actually. I hope you can see this. These are some soybeans that I roasted up, maybe 2 weeks ago or so. And they are still crunchy, just kind of like dry roasted peanuts or something like that. They work fine. They have a long shelf life. If you're going on a trip, stick them in a bag. They're great. Or put them in a Tupperware like this. Work great. Okay. Now you might say, well, can I get isoflavones in some other soy products? You can. The advantage of the whole mature soybeans is they have a lot more isoflavones. If you're going to try to do this with soy milk, you'd need about 2 quarts of soy milk to get the isoflavones that you would get from a half a cup of whole soy. Tofu, you can do it, but about 8 ounces would be the equivalent of a half a cup of whole soy. So there you have it, Chuck. I hope people will give it a try.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of info on soy. A couple of things to unpack here. Number one, I noticed that in your recipe for roasted soybeans, there you did not include any oil, and I know that if you go down any grocery store aisle and you see roasted beans, whether it's soy or it's a lot of times it's roasted chickpeas, they do have oil in there. Does that affect the flavor at all, or are we still talking pretty darn scrumptious here?
Leave the oil out. They are very tasty. If you want to add a little bit of salt or a little bit of Bragg's or some nutritional yeast or whatever, have at it, experiment and try. And you can even do your experiment in one time you're cooking. Spread out on your baking sheet. Here are some where I salted them. Here's some where I added some Bragg's. Here's some I left plain. See how you like it. You can also take some out at 50 minutes. Take some others out at 60 minutes. Take some out at an hour 15. Have fun with it and you'll see what you like. But adding oil, no, you do not need to add oil at all, and you're better off without it.
And for those of us, myself included, who are novices when it comes to using the Instant Pot with soy, is this one of those things where you need to rinse them before you put them in the Instant Pot? Because you mentioned rinsing if you do the stovetop method. I'm assuming the same would apply for the Instant Pot before you put it in.
Okay, well, rinsing, yes. I think it's always good to rinse any food that you got in a package. But when I say rinse, I'm not talking soak. You just rinse them under your thing and pop them in the Instant Pot. An Instant Pot and other pressure cookers, they have a little steel bowl and you can just put them in there. You rinse it, you drain it off, throw it in. So that takes 7 seconds. You do not need to soak them the night before if you're using a pressure cooker.
And I want to take a second as we kind of wrap up this series and talk about switching over to a plant-based diet. And I think that for those who aren't yet there, maybe you're watching this and you have somebody you're like, yeah, I know so-and-so could really benefit from what it is Dr. Barnard's been talking about. Wonderful. As a matter of fact, I encourage you to share this episode with them. Put it on your Facebook page. Send it to them in a text. Put it up on Twitter, whatever the case may be. Just help get them that information. If you could take a second to share this, that would be tremendous. Because I think that a lot of those people who you're trying to reach right now are people who aren't yet familiar with the plant-based diet. And they think that if they go on this vegan diet, they're only going to be able to eat salad or grass is one of the jokes that's always thrown around there. But the examples that you just showed, Dr. Barnard, I mean, some of the desserts that were on there, I mean, brownies, ice cream, just chocolate for days, and it was all delicious and all of it plant-based, no dairy, throw in some soy, and it can really be healthy. Can you just talk to us for a little bit about how a vegan diet is not limiting whatsoever when it comes to the menu?
When I grew up in Fargo, North Dakota, and there every day of my life, it was roast beef, baked potatoes, and corn, except for special occasions when it was roast beef, baked potatoes, and peas. And that was kind of a limited diet, Chuck, really, I got to tell you. And now I'm here in Washington, D.C., and you go down the block, there's an Italian place. Across the street is an Indian restaurant, and there's Chinese and Japanese. Every single one has just treasures that are plant-based and all these wonderful foods that I never tasted in Fargo, North Dakota. And I'm happy to say that Fargo's got quite a diversity of restaurants now too. But my point is this, that a plant-based diet opens up the world to you of so many different ways of eating that you aren't going to want to go back to your roast beef, baked potatoes, and corn anymore. Try different things, see what you like. And let me tip my hat to Lindsay S. Nixon, who did the recipes in Your Body in Balance. Because when Lindsay and I worked together on this book, her job, at which she is a genius, was to make foods that were really quick, familiar, and really just tasty and delicious. And the reason for that is, let's say you're going to make something because you've read the thyroid chapter in Your Body in Balance, you read the diabetes chapter, you read the How to Survive Cancer chapter, and you want to eat healthfully. But what you make your family's got to like it too, or whoever else you're sharing your meals with, they've got to like it too, because if so, then they're going to support you. They're going to jump in. They're going to make your journey easier, and probably they're going to benefit too. So the foods are delicious and fun, and I'm hoping people will pick up a copy of Your Body in Balance and have a look at it and share it with a friend, and just dig into this exploration of healthier foods. Frankly, a lot of people will say that yes, there's so many reasons to be plant-based, but they just prefer the way they feel and the way the foods taste, and they've kind of left behind some of the things that they grew up with and don't miss them anymore.
And having the opportunity to do this podcast series and speaking with a number of the women who went through the study, Margot, Anne Marie, and I'm thinking, like, obviously, Dr. Barnard, as men, you and I will never go through menopause. But whether it's menopause or anything else, my thought on this personally is this. You're talking about doing something for a few weeks to give it a try. And you often hear this term about, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. You're absolutely right. You have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. Isn't it worth a try if you are not able to sleep through the night? If you are having all of these uncomfortable hot flashes after hot flashes after hot flashes, Dr. Barnard, you talked about an 84% reduction in moderate to severe hot flashes among the women who participated in this study. And the women who I spoke to, they back that up 1,000%. And they say that not only were they able to sleep through the night, they weren't, having the night sweats, they weren't having the hot flashes, but because of that, Dr. Barnard, so many other aspects of their life change, including their mood, because just getting a good night's sleep changed their whole perspective on life again. And somebody even remarked that their husband said that, yeah, I got my wife back. So what do you have to lose? It's really, you're asking for a few weeks just to give it a try. Whether it's menopause or anything else, I'm not seeing a downside to it.
Menopause is a time when we're not only concerned about hot flashes, but also all the other things that well up, heart disease or breast cancer or an increased risk of dementia. The same kind of diet changes help all of these conditions.
Final thoughts as we wrap up this series, Dr. Barnard?
Explore. Focus on the short term. Give it a try and see what you think. Check out the recipe section. See if those really grab you, and read the other parts of this book too. When we talk about thyroid disease, when we talk about hormone-related cancers, when we talk about impotence in men, these are all real issues that bother a lot of people, and yet the solutions we have are things we didn't have when I was in medical school. We've got them now, and so I'm eager for people to put them to work in their own lives.
All right, Dr. Barnard. Well, look, I want to thank you so very much for joining us, not just here today, but throughout this entire series, and just incredible work. Congratulations on the release of the study. And I really do hope that people who have watched this series, listen to it, just find extraordinary relief, just as the women who participated in the study did.
If you don't mind, Chuck, I would like to say a thank you to you. A big thank you to the people watching this program, because they in turn spread the word to others. But I really want to say a special thank you to the women who were part of the study itself. They came in, they participated, they volunteered, they tracked how they did very, very carefully. And thank you to all of you for making that happen.
All right, Dr. Barnard, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Chuck.
If your health IQ is a couple of points higher than it was a few minutes ago, go ahead and like this video or subscribe to the YouTube channel. And to take it even higher, head over to Apple Podcast or wherever you get your favorite shows. Look for The Exam Room by the Physicians Committee. Hit the subscribe button there as well and help to make your world a healthier place.